Namaste, everyone. We are going to talk about, an upside down tree, or are we going to talk about our life which is upside down? Some of you perhaps will say both are upside down, or you may say we don't know whether there is any tree that is upside down, but the life of most of us is surely upside down. Things don't seem to be in order, though at times everybody is so optimistic, so upbeat, everybody is so happy, looking forward to things happening. However, on the whole, everyone gets tired. Like in Florida, if you go to that Epcot Center, Epcot, experimental prototype of culture of tomorrow, that is Epcot in the Disney World near Orlando. But a guide very humorously called it Epcot means every person comes out tired. This world of ours or this life of ours is like that. There is a lot of fun, no doubt, but then every person comes out tired. It's Epcot show once more. The Upanishads long back referred to egoistic existence as fraught with sorrow. However, Upanishads are never there to give us any bad news. Those who study the Upanishads patiently discover that following the picture that the Upanishads draw of our life, where of course we admit it is shown to be full of limitations, following that apparent bad news, the Upanishads do talk about the good news, that is, we can put an end to sorrow. There is sorrow in life is the truth that is first conveyed, but the higher truth is this sorrow can be ended. Are we really interested in ending the sorrow? Are we really interested in being free of our limitations? Are we really keen to solve our problems once for all? The good news is, if we are serious, there is a way out. And this mantra on which we shall today or this evening dwell actually puts it in a unique fashion. The egoistic life, egocentric life of everybody is like a peepal tree with lots of branches, lots of leaves, lots of fruits, lots of twigs, lots of uh, birds sitting upon the branches, lots of nests that they have built. The description of this tree, which is an analogy for human egocentric life, is very vast. And this tree, which is presented as upside down, the actual peepal tree out there is not so, but this analogy presents the tree upside down deliberately with some solid reason in the mind. The roots of the tree, once the tree is looked at upside down, are obviously above. Otherwise, in a normal tree, the roots are below. So, with the clear and definite purpose of indicating that all of us living in an egoistic manner have actually our roots our source above, which means our true nature is divine. Urdhva Mulaha, Avak Shakaha. In the Bhagavad Gita, this mantra gives rise to the first shloka of the 15th chapter, where grammatically the word goes to the second case, Urdhva Moolam Adashakam. That is how it comes here, comes in Gita, but in Upanishad, Urdhva Moolaha Avakshakaha. Interestingly, the word vriksha, samsāra-vriksha, you see, this is the word vriksha, which means tree, is not explicitly mentioned here. However, urdhvamulaha avakshakaha yeshaha ashvattaha sanatanaha, says the mantra. Vriksha is implied because ashvattha is name of a well-known tree, and mulaha, roots, shakaha, that is branches, all refer to a tree. Therefore, taking the word vriksha, which once more is not explicitly given in the mantra, commentators like Adi Shankara say that egocentric life can be compared with the vriksha, with a tree, because inasmuch as a tree can be cut, not that we are asking anybody to cut the trees around, please don't go away from the analogy or the relevant domain, but in a manner of justifying the metaphor. Just as a tree can be cut and is often cut by people, the egocentric life can be cut. That is how Lord Krishna in the Gita takes this metaphor and explicitly says, Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. Cut this tree with the sword of detachment. The Kathopanishad doesn't explicitly use that expression, Asanga shastrena chitva, though in his commentary, Shankaracharya uses that expression, that this tree can be cut with the sword, with the weapon called firm detachment. That is, as we start living on a truly mature plane, we find the ego goes weaker and weaker and finally takes to its heels. Vrikshaha, tree, etymologically means that which can be cut. Therefore, that is the good news. Egoistic life is not forever. The only obstacle or the major obstacle to ending of the ego is, you may believe or may not believe, the obstacle is our not being prepared, our not being willing, our not being really ready. You may not believe this because you may say, well, we really want to end sorrow. But if you re-examine your own mind, on one hand you want to end your sorrow, but on the other you have numerous conditions. You have the insistence, I want to put an end to my sorrow without letting go of my house, without letting go of my present position, without letting go of this body, or maybe this new dress, or maybe this new vehicle, this new title. In short, we have an image of ourselves, and however painful life has been, this image of ours, this I, this me, as we presently conceive, is very dear to us. We don't want to let go of our present self-image, and conditionally we want to bargain for this liberation. Therefore, if we are truly ready, If we are very open-minded, it takes no time for ego to go. Urdhvamulaha avakshaka. Avak here is same as adhaha in the Geeta. The branches are below. The roots are above, which is pure Brahman, and the branches below are countless forms of expressions of living beings. The branches are the various lokas, earth, heaven, hell, and so on. The branches are various lower levels of consciousness, bound in their own ways. Urdhvamulaha avakshakaha yeshaha ashwattaha. Elsewhere it is explained that shvaha means tomorrow, shvaha tishtati is shvattha, and ashwattha means shvaha na tishtati. Tomorrow it will not remain. So, utterly impermanent, very perishable nature of this world. We sometimes say the world, sometimes we say the world is rooted, the world is anchored in our own egocentrism. Therefore, please bear with me if I too alternate between the world and egocentric life, because they are two sides of the same coin. You make your world. The same world is different to different people depending upon their outlooks, their ego, their particular expectations, their particular perceptions, interpretations of the so-called world which they see. Therefore, this world is called here Ashwattha, very perishable, highly temporary. However, in essence, this has been on for a very long time. Sanatana. So here in this particular session, let us examine what's actually wrong with the egocentric existence. This requires very careful attention. Sometimes philosophy may mislead us. Sometimes philosophy builds a big system, a complex system by which we are made to believe that there is some cause and it has another cause and it has yet another cause, some hidden cause, and then there is an explicit cause. So many levels we consider. But the Vedanta actually says there is only one problem, that is error in perception. You are in error, then everything looks real. When you end that error in seeing, you are liberated. For this error, sometimes a philosophy is given. What is the cause of the error? What is its cause? Etc. Really speaking, this error is in itself everything. Therefore, we use the expression the domain of error. And in the domain of error, there is time, there is space, there is causation. And when error ends, none of these is. Maharshi Ramana always asked us to inquire, who am I? In fact, one of his most famous answers to somebody who brought a doubt to him was, doubt the doubter. There is a doubter in us, and that doubter has to be doubted. The questioner has to be questioned. And I would say, in the context of this session on the upside down tree, the tree is obviously one part of the erroneously perceived world, and the ego which perceives this world is also a part of that error. Please do not mistake this to be, okay, does Advaita Vedanta therefore say we are also error? We ourselves are error? Our very existence is error? No, not at all. On the contrary, the Advaita Vedanta says our true nature is infinite, unbounded. Our true nature is not part of this error. The one who is wondering, when will I get free of all sorrow? The one who is suffering, the one who in between is happy too for a while. There is this entity, this samsāri. So there is the samsāri aham, I. So I perceived as worldly, I perceived as limited, I perceived as having a doubt, I perceiving as going to die. So please see, there is only one bundle. I'll call it a bundle of thoughts. I'm calling it a bundle because what is a bundle? Bundle has many things put together. Likewise, this is a bundle of numerous I thoughts. I hyphen thought. Aham vritti. Somebody says I am young, or somebody else says I am old, I am handsome, I am smart, I am educated, I am a villager, I am a citizen, no matter how we describe ourselves. So a bundle of self-descriptions, the common denominator for all the self-descriptions is just one. This self-description makes our existence separate from certain other things. You are separate from me, I am separate from you. Who says this? This bundle of thoughts. This bundle of I thoughts in numerous ways separates, divides. For example, if somebody goes and says to a bunch of people, hey, all of you are so young, I am old here. More than old or young or that age question, there is a dividing line. All others are young and he is old. In countless ways, the self-description makes one's own existence a divided, broken, therefore we use the word bounded. That means it puts a boundary to one's own existence. And we say that is error. And the truth is, you and I exist as unbounded. That is how Adi Shankara, in his most important definition of adhyas, superimposition, says to see in something else, to see something else in something is superimposition, adhyasa. So I'm not going to too many details there, but let me put it this way. I am unbounded, and right now there is a perception I am bounded, I am limited, right? So who am I inquiry requires that we question this idea. I am limited. I am subject to death. I was born. I had good health. These days I have poor health. I was so wealthy. These days I have financial issues. Whatever. So, this whole bundle of self-describing thoughts is to be questioned. Who am I? Next time or any time you have a thought, I'm not so fit these days. Ask yourself, who is not fit? We are not saying don't go to the doctor, don't take medicine, or don't eat nutritious food. Do all those things. That's totally different issue. But centrally or on a deeper level, this identification with the body that is unfit, with the body that is weak, with the body that may be sick, this identification needs to be shaken. Who am I? I would now say you may wonder whether we are going away from this upside down tree. Not at all. In this webinar, I am not interested in giving a very poetic and dramatic description of the tree. Rather, I would say the samsāra-vriksha is parallel to erroneous perception. When there is no error, then we realize Brahman, which always was, is, and will be. In fact, this calls for a certain fundamental shift in thinking. Call it shift in thinking or call it shift in seeing. That's a better word. A fundamental shift in understanding. You know what that fundamental shift is? We are so used to put everything on the axis of time. Here, the fundamental shift in our understanding requires that we need to put this error not on the axis of time, but put time on the, I wouldn't say axis, time is within the domain of error. Is time in the error domain or is error on the time axis? For any of you would wonder, sir, if all this happened because of error, when exactly did this error take place? By asking that question, you are putting error as a phenomenon on the axis of time. Or some of you may ask, where did this error first take place? On the earth or in heaven or in hell? Outside, inside, up or down? By asking that kind of question, you are putting error in space. We ask you to have a fundamental shift. Space is within error. Time is within error. Cause and effect is within error. This is a fundamental shift in understanding, and you may say, oh, if I put time, space, and cause and effect within error, then I cannot do anything with this error. Very good. If you arrive there, that is what Maharshi Ramana would say, Summa Iru. Be still. He is not asking us to be still by suppressing ourselves. That suppression won't last long anyhow. But by seeing that this error is the womb of time, this error is the womb of space, and therefore I want to tackle this error and not get lost in a secondary phenomenon like time or space. So when you go to the primary issue, since it is not a phenomenon in time or something in space, you are still, you are quiet, you stay just attentive. In that state of attention, the samsāra-vriksha gets cut. Friends, the essential Vedanta sadhana is not scholarship, it is not verbosity especially. You need to be a scholar of some sort, but we don't say don't study at all. Do study, get right understanding. If right understanding is the mark of scholarship, we would say you need scholarship. But if verbosity, knowing a lot of mantras and shlokas and examples and systems of philosophy, knowing a whole lot of things which you may use to give a speech, write an article or publish books, etc. If that is what scholarship means, then you don't need scholarship. Scholarship is not the way to freedom. But if right understanding, here is error, and this error is more basic than time and space. Therefore, questions of when, why, how, where, etc. are secondary. Those questions cannot be asked about this genesis of error. There is no genesis of error. For genesis, there has to be time first. Genesis, the sequence, the process, how exactly A came, what came first, then what came next, and what came third. That is Genesis. Srishti Krama. All that, even in the Upanishads, are a kind of a warm-up. They are to play a secondary role. They serve a purpose which is on a lower plane. The primary purpose of the Upanishads is to wake us up. In a dream, suppose somebody leads you from a hot place to a cool place, from a starving place to a place where there is a lot of food and drink. Well, that is nice, but can you see that waking up from dream is an entirely different ball game? Likewise, to doubt the doubter, to question the questioner, to say who has this problem, who has this issue, who is suffering, who is anxious, who is uncertain. Not to simply indulge in more and more words which I may be using to convey a point, but actually to stay aware, very attentive, and to go to the root of matter. To go to the root of the matter will involve this deep understanding, this query, this very primary and fundamental query. Rest of the mantra, in fact, explains Tadeva Shukram Tad Brahma, referring to the source that is pure because it's of the nature of consciousness. Whereas the samsāra-vriksha, in a manner of saying, is of the nature of thoughts. It is in thoughts that we are bound. It is in thoughts that we are losers or winners. It is in thought that we are limited, inadequate, insecure, and 100 things. In pure consciousness, Shukram, it is absolutely pure, absolutely free. Tad Brahma, Mahatvat, Brahman, the infinite, nothing can surpass it. Tadeva Amritam, no death touches this substrate where there is no error. Tasmin loka ashrita sarve, countless forms of egoistic existence happen, they seem to happen in this Brahma when there is error. I am not calling error a cause here on a different plane as though. I would rather say error, that is avidya, and all these erroneous perceptions go hand in hand. There is no difference in level, difference in time, difference in space. Then there is error, this whole domain appears. When there is no error, you are free. Tadunatyeti kaschana. Lastly, nothing can surpass this Brahman. When pots and pitchers, pails and plates, when 100 things are made of clay, no name and form of a pot or a glass or a pitcher, a flower vase, no such name and form can ever go beyond clay. You make a pot out of clay, the pot may attract you. You may say, what a wonderful pot. But you can't say, this pot, is better than clay. The pot is clay only. The pot cannot go even 1 inch away from clay. Tadu natyeti kaschana has that significance. Therefore, to summarize this session's treatment of the upside down tree, which is a metaphor for egocentric existence and our egoistic life, we would say that ajnana, avidya, ignorance is what marks our egocentric life, and where there is ignorance, there is an erroneous perception, and going by the revelations of the Upanishads, or as Maharshi Ramana would put it, conducting self-inquiry, contemplate on the Upanishadic revelation or inquire, who am I? These are slightly differently worded expressions of a certain very subtle process. The error comes to an end. Samsāra-vriksha gets uprooted, gets cut, and etad-vaitat. The 3 words at the end of the mantra say, this is it. All the rest of the topics in the Vedas, in the spiritual classics, or in numerous other subjects, all of them are, if not one notch, many notches, they are below. They are all within the error domain. We are talking of ending of error and getting free. That is an extraordinary leap. That's an extraordinary shift. Unfortunately, language fails. For moment I say leap, you perhaps would think of a frog taking a leap, or an Olympic gold medalist in long jump making a long leap. So it is in space, it is in time. The moment I say shift, again limitation of language, shifting from here to there, shifting from this point of time to that point of time. So our thinking is so much, so much entrenched in space, time and causation. Alas, there is no other way than to use the language which is all the time serving the master's time and space, to point out something which is not a shift in time or leap in time, not a shift in space or leap in space, but we have no other way than to use the words leap, shift. We are using those words just to give an idea that something unusual happens. Again, happens is as though it happens in time. Alright. Samsāra-vriksha is egoistic living, and Brahma is the ending of that egoism. Om Tat Sat. Let me see if you have any question. Okay.